Hi, beautiful people, and welcome to your 2025 horoscopes for the month of July. Now, before I start this video, I want to mention that this is part one, where I was looking at the overview for all the transits and ingresses, and I'm going to post a part two, where I will take you to each of the 12 rising signs. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to link it in the description box below. And oh my god, the month of July will be very interesting and rather tense, in my opinion. We're gonna see a lot of planets turn retrograde. We're gonna have a very intense new moon, even full moon as well. And we're also, on top of that, gonna see a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo. So let's start. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are already, thank you so much for being here and following along. Now, we'll be taking a look at the astrology transits and ingresses for July. And it's going to start, it's actually going to kick off with a Venus conjunct Uranus. And that can get quite weird, to be honest, because Uranus is unpredictability, shocks, surprises, expect the unexpected. That is what Uranus is all about. And Venus is, of course, our money and our finances and love and possessions and the things we value. Venus is the finer things in life. And when it's going to conjunct Uranus, we can expect a lot of upheaval in all these themes. So maybe some are going to break up, some are going to have a very unexpected suppressed desire that is going to be exposed. It can also be about secrets coming to light. So if one of the two has been cheating or there's something weird going on, definitely going to come up under the Venus conjunct Uranus. And the day after that, on July the 4th, Venus is going to enter into the sign of Gemini. And then on the same day, Neptune is going to return retrograde in Aries. So yeah, a lot of things are happening at the same time. The first week of July, so much energy is shifting, and it's like really, really crazy what's like happening in the first week of July alone. Then the second half of July is going to get even more intense. So yeah, when Venus enters into Gemini, she's actually practically going to do that together with Uranus. And Uranus is going to enter into Gemini as well on July the 7th. So all these energy, it is all shifting and moving, and Neptune turning retrograde and Saturn turning retrograde all at the same time. So I cannot explain how rare of an astrology this is for the first week of July. When Venus enters into Gemini, Venus gets more lighthearted, more communicative, because Gemini, of course, rules communication. And yeah, with Venus and Uranus shifting almost together in Gemini, there is a lot of electricity, rebelliousness, about romantic energy going on, especially from the end of June until the middle of July. And it's also going to create a lot of upheaval in the financial markets for sure. So yeah, this is not financial advice, but Venus on top of Uranus is going to create instability in the financial markets for sure. And then Neptune, that is going to turn retrograde on July the 4th. That can be about hidden motives, hidden agendas related to war, which is resembled by Aries. So it's also revisiting the themes of war and conflict. So I think this is going to be a period when we're going to see things calm down a little bit, especially in the Middle East. But just know on the 20th of July, things can kick off again. But I'm going to explain it later in this video. So Neptune, it is about our dreams and ideals, and when it's retrograding back in Aries, it's about our ambitions and our independence and our identity. Yeah, a lot of things are getting revised in that during this time. And then shortly after that, Saturn is also going to return retrograde in Aries. So yeah, this is actually going to bring a short window of healing potential, but I think whenever we gonna enter the second half of July with the Mars Saturn conjunction, things are gonna get pretty tense. So I know we saw a ceasefire that was easy to spot in the astrology with the Sun Jupiter conjunction, but I don't think it will last pretty long, if you ask me. So then, July the 7th, Uranus will enter into Gemini, and I'm going to dedicate a whole video on that, so we're not going to go too deep into that right now. But Uranus symbolizes disruption, liberation, innovation, and when it enters into Gemini, Gemini rules our immediate environment, so our local neighborhood, the way we communicate. It's also about our siblings, and Gemini also resembles the media. So Uranus is going to create a lot of shocks and upheaval in that. Think about AI, quantum computing, technology and transportation, and all sorts of communication platforms will see big disruption, but also big innovation. Like Uranus, in the end, it disrupts things in order to liberate and to bring more awareness. But I think we're going to see some very, very tense things kicking off in regards to Palantir and new different types of AI, and like AI creating its own language that we cannot even decode with our quantum computers, and all weird things like that. Like Uranus, it resembles weirdness. In the sign of Gemini, a lot of sudden disruptions and all the things that I just mentioned. So there can definitely be some restlessness, mental overstimulation, and people can freak a little bit out with everything that might shift and change at such a fast pace whenever Uranus makes its ingress into Gemini. And just know, Uranus will be in Gemini for only a short amount of time. We're getting a sneak peek of all the planets that are currently shifting signs, and they're going to dip back because they're going to retrograde back into their previous sign. And in 2026, a whole new world will emerge whenever all the slow-moving planets travel into their new sign for a very long time, from 2026 onward. So then we're also going to see a full moon in Capricorn, and this one is actually very, very important. I'm going to show the chart. So the full moon in Capricorn is going to be a very, very powerful turning point, and it's going to bring a lot of culmination and responsibility, and also can be an ending in certain long-term goals. Capricorn is about our career, our public image, achievements, and also our personal discipline. And Capricorn is also ruling the government. So it's at an 18 degree, and 18 degrees is a Virgo degree. So expect a lot of scrutiny in regards to our government, and also in teams of health and daily routine, because a Virgo degree, it rules health. So I'm immediately thinking about RFK. He will be in the media very, very profoundly, is my guess. And some powerful person or structure is going to come up for sure in regards to the government. I just read that RFK wants everyone to wear a wearable, so an electronic device, in the next 4 years. So yeah, it's going to expose a lot of truth and a lot of things in regards to the government, because Saturn, the planet that rules this full moon and the sign of Capricorn, is going to turn retrograde in Aries 2 days after this full moon. So yeah, on a personal level, the full moon in Capricorn can be an ending or a culmination in some kind of weight that is getting lifted off our shoulders. So yeah, in a more personal theme, it can be a very big revisiting of your long-term dreams. And it's okay to let go of a life that you've worked really hard on, or that you've worked really hard to build. And something might get released in terms of your long-term ambition or long-term achievement. Something can come to an end in regards to that. So yeah, the full moon in Capricorn, luckily it harmonizes with Mars, but still it's going to be a critical full moon at 18 degrees, and something in regards to the government and our healthcare system that is attached to the government will come up for a big review, and something is going to shift in that. Capricorn is also about people in power and something ending in that. There can be a very big, powerful figure stepping down from a very high position in the government as well. But I'll go more deeply into that whenever I do the video about this full moon. Then, on July the 2nd, on July the 12th, 2 days after the full moon, Saturn is going to station retrograde in Aries, a big review about our personal boundaries, our confidence, and also independence. And so whenever a planet turns retrograde, the energy is heightened. Saturn is the great malefic. Saturn is the strict grandfather that teaches us limits, boundaries, karma as well. So yeah, it's like the teacher leaving the room, and now we're responsible for applying all that we've learned when it was direct. And it's in the sign of Aries, so it's about our independence. It's about war as well. It's also about revisiting goals that demand greater self-discipline, and there may be some delays or restrictions happening in that, but don't interpret them as failure. They are meant to strengthen you and also resolve some things and push you towards a more authentic expression of your personal power. So yeah, the fact that themes like war and conflict and the burden that brings Saturn into the sign of Aries war is going to have a very big revising. So I think that's very, very necessary right now. Then, and I also need to mention that on July the 15th, Saturn is going to be conjunct Neptune in Aries. They're only 1 degree apart from each other, and that's why we're seeing so much going on right now, collapses of big systems, of great things happening in the collective right now. That's also why we see the things happening with Iran. Yeah, Saturn and Neptune together, they always create a lot of havoc if you look back at historic cycles. So we're going to feel that all the way into even August. So yeah, this energy, of course, got triggered with the square to Jupiter in the month of June. So Jupiter expands and makes everything bigger. Luckily, we're now through the square, and this is like yeah, loosening up a little bit. So, but still, it will be very, very palpable, the energy. And the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in Aries is a very, very rare and pivotal event for the whole collective. It's the merging of dream and discipline with ideal and structure and vision and reality. And that is very, very intertwined right now. So it's actually a very big spiritual reckoning. Some feel very inspired, others feel very, very overwhelmed by that. So yeah, it's reassessing what's worth building, and structure and idealism is merging right now, creating a whole new foundation. So yeah, very interesting aspect that is happening. Then on July the 17th, we're going to see a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo. And it's going to go onwards from July the 17th for 3 weeks after that until August the 10th or the 11th. So yeah, a 3-week period of a review and also can be some communication breakdowns. It's more of an introspective phase. We have Mercury retrograde 3 times a year. For each and every time it lasts 3 weeks. So in the sign of Leo, it's about the focus is on self-expression, courage, leadership, romance, and also creativity. And Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo is encouraging us to reclaim our voice and also reconnect with forgotten passions. So not a bad Mercury retrograde. The only thing is that it will opposite Pluto and Aquarius, and it's gonna definitely create some havoc in the collective in regards to leadership. Kings and queens, royalties, celebrities are all ruled by Leo. Then On July the 20th, something very tense is happening because Mars will conjunct the South Node in Virgo. So, Mars is aggression, it is war, it is willpower, it is action, and the South Node represents karma and also the past and some kind of release that is happening. So yeah, it can be a very aggressive karmic purging that is going to happen whenever Mars is going to conjunct the South Node in Virgo. It can be a very destructive release, and also can be about militaristic and also instinctual responses to outdated systems that need to go. And the South Node is in Virgo. Virgo is about our daily routine. It's about our daily habits. It's about our work, our service towards others, and also our health, and something being released in that, and that can create a lot of violence, actually. If you look back at historic cycles of the Mars conjunct the South Node, we see sudden attacks. We also see military strikes. We see violent offensives. Yes, often they are unanticipated, and yeah, workers are also gonna revolt because there's gonna be a lot of layoffs in relation to AI, because Mars is going to square Venus. Venus will be in Gemini. Uranus will then be in Gemini. Uranus is going to take over a lot of our jobs. And this is a moment where it's going to become very obvious, and people are going to be very angry about it. And it's going to show up a lot. It can also be about a lot of debates about cyber warfare, about AI models, about the ownership of digital intelligence. It's definitely going to create some disruption and shocks and surprises with Palantir. And it's also going to be about corporate surveillance. So all these things are up for a lot of scrutiny. And we're going to see some potential regime collapses happening with that as well. And everyone automatically thinks about Iran, but I actually think with July's full moon on the 10th, that full moon in Capricorn, maybe you can see some change in leadership regarding Israel, because the chart really indicates that in July something major can shift in regards to leadership in Israel. So Iran is expected unexpected. So I'm gonna take a deep dive into the charts of Israel and Iran and the US as well. But if we look at previous cycles of South Node conjunct Mars, then it also happened during 9/11, and it also happened Mars South Node conjunction during the attack of Hamas on Israel on October the 7th, 2023. But then Mars was not only on the South Node, Mars was also squaring Pluto at the same time. And Pluto and Mars aspects, they are the worst of the worst. And now we had a Mars square Uranus. So things exploding, bombs going off, that is resembled by Uranus. So yeah, South Node conjunct Uranus, something can like really shift in our daily life and our daily work routine. Something can also shift into the STEM sectors. A lot of job losses are going to be happening in the STEM sectors. So can also be about ethical scandals of AI and biotech, and all these things are going to be coming up for a lot of scrutiny. So yeah, we're going to have to face in the collective and in our personal lives, we're going to have to face the consequences of misdirected anger and misplaced effort. And there can also be things going on around toxic productivity and something shifting and being released in that. So another thing that I remember is when Mars was conjunct the South Node. In my personal chart, it was conjunct Pluto in 2021, the Mars South Node conjunction, and that is the moment that my grandfather passed away. So yeah, whenever the Mars is conjunct the South Node, something gets released, something that is painful, something that is creating inner conflict or conflict in the outside world, and it's always a very, very difficult transit to deal with. Of course, now it's not square any major outer planet, but it will square Venus in Gemini. So job losses, money losses in regards to AI, tech, and all these new systems that are going to be emerging pretty quickly whenever Uranus shifts into Gemini. So yeah, it's a very big release and reckoning of old past patterns, and yeah, it's clearing outdated behaviors that really hinder your process forwards on a daily basis. So we're going to see some shifts happening in that. And then we're also gonna see then Venus and Gemini square. Oh, I'm going ahead of myself. We're on the 22nd of July. We're gonna see a Sun entering into the sign of Leo, and Leo season is gonna start. Sun is at home in Leo. It is the sign that is ruled by the Sun, so that is actually positive. Very radiant and expressive energy that is going to get unleashed. It's about playfulness and visibility and living boldly and all the actually reigniting your personal fire with the Sun and Leo. But then on the 23rd of July, and of course, before I go on, I want to wish every Leo and also Cancer a happy birthday for the month of July. Then on the 23rd of July, we're going to see a Venus in Gemini square the Mars in Virgo, which I already touched on a little bit. But Virgo wants precision, practicality, productive action. And Venus, Mars, they often spark attraction. But this time it will ignite some tension in that passion, and there can be some mental stimulation together with practical needs, and there can be a struggle to find balance in that. And it's gonna definitely manifest in money matters, in friendship, and also maybe it can create also some problems in honest and grounded dialogue. So yeah, and especially because Mercury will then also be retrograde. So yeah, be careful of some ego clashes whenever Mercury turns retrograde in the sign of Leo. Leo can roar very loud. So then the Sun in Leo will sextile Uranus in Gemini. That will be a positive one. It's about authentic expression, and also Gemini really brings the unexpected, the intellectual, and also the futuristic with the shift of Uranus in that sign now. So really, yeah, it can light a spark that can really revive old ideas with a new twist in all Gemini teams. Then we're going to see on the 24th of July a new moon in the sign of Leo. So let's look at the chart. So this new moon is going to be very, very dramatic. It's in the sign of Leo, which is normally very light and fun and very bold and very authentic. But it's going to opposite Pluto, the planet of the underworld. So yeah, very, very tense aspect. I think, honestly, this is one of the most intense new moons of the entire year. And it's going to create a lot of drama, for sure. So yeah, a high volatility. It's about secrets, getting out there in the collective. Pluto in Aquarius, new moon in Leo. Leo is about celebrity, kings and queens, royalty, people in leadership. I'm actually immediately thinking about Trump and JD Vance because they have rising sign is in Leo. So yeah, a new moon in their 12th house. Mercury retrograde in their 12th house, and a Placidus chart, of course. So a lot of things happening behind the scenes. a lot of hidden conversations that involve secrets, and it's going to create a lot of power struggles for sure. So yeah, leadership and crisis. That's how I'm interpreting this new moon. Very potential for precise and coordinated attacks with Mars on the south node exact during this new moon. And Uranus will then be in Gemini, really sparking this radical thinking of ideas and media and education and political systems. So it can also be about addiction, obsession. Pluto rules death. So yeah, we can even see the death of a very famous someone dying in politics is very famous. Can also be someone that's a celebrity, can also be related to P. Diddy, of course, and everything that's happening. But yeah, definitely major shocks and power struggles and obsession and domination coming to the surface. So yeah, we're definitely going to see a big revelation involving some kind of authority figure or some kind of leader or king or queen. Can even be related to the royal family in the UK as well, now that I'm thinking about that. Just know that Pluto creates emotional extremes. Can be a big collapse that gets triggered here with Mars on the south node. Yeah, this one won't be pretty. And yeah, we're just gonna need to go with the collective and global turmoil that involves leadership with this new moon. So, anything else I should mention? Yeah, it's especially going to be very impactful for the beginning degrees of Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, your other fire signs. So for you, it might be a bit more positive than for all the fixed signs. All the fixed signs, which are Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. For you, it can be a bit more harder. Then, yeah, I'm gonna just continue and dive deeper into this new moon when I make the whole video that is dedicated to that. We're also going to see on July the 24th, the Sun trine Saturn and Neptune. That is going to be positive. But then the day after, July the 25th, the Sun is going to make an exact opposition towards Pluto and Aquarius. So we're going to receive some very intense news. And the collective is going to be very rebellious towards what's going to happen by the end of July. Then on July the 26th, that is actually a very important date because Mars in Virgo will be at the exact same eclipse degree from March 2025. So it's actually very striking. On the 14th of March, we had an eclipse into the sign of Virgo. We had a lot of layoffs, we had a lot of strikes, with transportation, aviation, even in the supermarkets. I think some related themes are going to come up again whenever Mars conjunct the South Node at the same degree of the eclipse is going to come forward by the end of July. So yeah, it will be a lot of conflict in work, health, service, because when Mars conjuncts the eclipse degree, it creates a very big cosmic pressure. And if you've been like not handling your sort of responsibility well, or your anxiety, or if you're trying to over control, then something will come up in order for you to become aware of what needs to be released. And because this happens so closely to the new moon in Leo opposite Pluto, it will definitely be related to power struggles. And if someone abuses their power towards you during these days, it's a very clear sign that that person or that situation needs to be released in your life. So yeah, when there is an eclipse reactivation, it is very fated, very karmic, and it can be a very catalytic event that comes forward in order to help you release it. But it's always accompanied by struggle and force, and something that we rather not want to deal with. So yeah, it really is going to steer a lot of karmic dust. And think back to what happened during the middle of March. Something is going to see a continuation, something is going to see a peak, or something totally closes out. But it's going to be connected to the middle of March for sure. So on the 30th of July, Venus will enter the sign of Cancer, and it will shift from light, flirtatious Gemini to deeper emotional water, to more bonding, nurturing, and really more of a sentimentality and comfort and heartfelt expression in love and money. So yeah, very, very good for emotional connection, and also for for making love in general, and also for emotional reactivity. Some people are going to feel a little bit clinginess, maybe out of fear of abandonment. That is something that can come up, and it's something that needs to be reworked as well. And then by the end of the month, we're going to see on the 31st of July a Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde. So that can be a big moment of clarity. So I know whenever Mercury is retrograde, we need to focus on revisiting themes from the past. We need to go inwards and connect with our inner selves, and revise the way how we communicate and connect with another person. But this is actually when the Sun is going to conjunct Mercury. It can be a moment of clear insight, of a lightning bolt, and suddenly knowing where you need to go, or if you have been dealing with some questions, then this can be a moment of clarity in the middle of all the confusion. So really take notice of what happens during the Sun conjunct Mercury by the end of July. And it's happening in a very, very fierce sign of Leo. So whatever comes up can be expressed very, very boldly. It can be in regards to romance, your children, dating, but also contracts that you've previously signed in regards to your partner, in regards to your children, that you've been reworking behind the scenes, and now you have a clearer idea on how to move forward with that. So yeah, we're quickly gonna look at all the ingresses. So on July the 4th, Venus is going to enter the sign of Gemini. And a few days later, on July the 7th, Uranus is going to shift into the sign of Gemini. And then on July the 22nd, Sun enters Leo, and Leo season starts. And by the end of the month, Venus is going to ingress into the sign of Cancer, the sign of the home, our emotions, our roots, and the mother. So yeah, a lot of things are going on for the month of July, and the biggest one is, of course, Uranus entering a new sign. Expect a lot of unpredictability. If life doesn't move in a way that you've anticipated to go in, just know that Uranus is shaking up the status quo. It is, having a disruptive influence in order for you to gain more awareness, to gain more insights. Uranus is about sudden flashes of insights. So just know that Uranus, in the end, it wants to liberate you, create more freedom in order for you to experience more happiness. Now, the weird thing is that, a lot of things will get very, very strange and weird with artificial intelligence. Uranus is the planet of internet. Gemini is how we communicate. Something is going to shift dramatically in that. Also in our smartphones, I think we're going to see a whole new type of phone coming forward. I think the internet will get totally renewed. So yeah, a lot of surprises are in store for us with all these big outer planets moving into another sign. And it's about reclaiming your inner power, but it's not easy with Saturn and Neptune on top of each other in the sign of Aries. So that was it for the general overview for the month of July. I will post or upload my each of 12 rising signs shortly after this video. So stay tuned for that, and be sure to check out all the mini readings I've prepared for each and the 12 rising signs. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you back soon with a lot more information about Uranus shifting into Gemini. So thank you so much and see you soon. Bye bye.